Hi guys, welcome to the Swallow's Nest Homestead. Today I'm about to finish my second Seskovic-style chicken tractor. So I wanted to kind of show it to you and walk you through it and talk about what I love about it, what I don't love about it, problems we had building it, and some of my tips and tricks for building this particular style of tractor. So as you can see I've got this chicken tractor in my garage, and this is what is known as a Suscovich-style chicken tractor because it's designed by John Suscovich, who is a market gardener and brewer. So I bought these plans from his website, and this is the second one that we've built. The first one worked pretty well for us. We raised 20 broilers in it last year, and right now it has our new 6-layer hens or pullets for this year. It is the dimensions. It's, I believe, 8 feet wide and almost, it's 11.5 feet long. It is tall enough that I can actually stand up inside of it. Neither my husband or my son can. I'm 5'7"-ish, so it's kind of nice to be able to stand up inside of it. There's plenty of room. It is designed to hold 30 birds, meat birds, and so it's got plenty of space. It's got skids on the bottom and then a wheel at the back, so you just pull it and you can move it every day. It's really easy to move. Couple things that we had trouble with on our first build is, I'm going to turn my camera sideways here. This board right here, in the plans, it's actually an inch short. So if you ever build this, this is part G, or board G. He names them or labels them by letter. So this one is G, and it's an inch shorter than it's supposed to be. So we made notes of that when we made it the first time. So this time it worked out and we did it right. Now I'm going to show you on the inside. One of the things that he advocates doing, and that I actually like doing, is a lap joint, as opposed to a butt joint, or this is what we call a butt joint here, where you just screw the two 2x4s together. This is a lap joint where you actually cut the board halfway through and use a chisel to carve it out so that they lay flush against each other. It's not a technique that I was familiar with before. He explains exactly how to do it in the plans and why. He talks about how it adds additional stability. Because it's flush to this one, you're going to get less play this way with these vertical pieces. But I do recommend, if you're building it, to dry fit them first, because we've always, both times we've made it, we've had ones that don't quite fit right. We didn't quite cut them wide enough or whatever, and sometimes you have to make one more run with the saw to get it just wide enough so that it'll fit in there right. That's not a big deal. It's just, before you've got it all covered in glue and are trying to screw it in and you realize it doesn't fit, dry fit it first. So we used zip ties. And this time it calls for 4-foot chicken wire on the top. We used 2-foot this time because it was what was available. But also we needed 2-foot for another project. So I just bought a big 100-foot roll, and it's a little more work to do 2-foot because you've got a lot more seams. There might be a little more risk involved, but this will be covered by a tarp. I haven't done the tarp yet because I wanted you to be able to see it before it was covered. And so you have to, with the 2-foot, you have to zip tie twice as many of them together, but it still works. And because it'll be covered with tarp, you're not going to really get anything that's going to come through these gaps although I could put more zip ties in it if I was concerned about that. The tarp, we usually leave this very first section uncovered, so the birds are able to get sunshine and things like that. And then we move them every day so they get fresh grass. Especially if you're doing Cornish cross or Cornish rocks, it's really important to move them every day because they're just filthy. The amount of food they consume and the amount of waste they produce is astounding. So helping to move them, and when they were the last 2 weeks or so before butcher, we were moving them twice a day because there was so much waste. But this has really worked well for us so far. The next year, I want to try turkeys in one. It is really a more versatile shelter than, say, like the Salatin-style broiler pen that is very short. It's just tall enough for them to, little taller than necessary for them to walk around. This can be used as an isolation pen for larger livestock, like a sheep or something like that. It's turkeys and ducks, whatever kind of bird you want. It's easy to move. It doesn't require any tools to move it. And so we really have it like this design. I will put a link in the show notes to John Seskovich's website. It's actually called the Stress-Free Chicken Tractor, is what he named it. And so I'll link his website. He really does well spelling out step by step how to assemble it, how to cut. He does a cut list, tells you exactly how to cut it. So it's really fairly simple for a novice carpenter like me. One suggestion that he made that made a huge difference is, especially if you have a air compressor, to get a pneumatic stapler. That was huge for us. And I don't know why we didn't have one and never thought of that. But when I told my husband, I says, he suggested a pneumatic stapler. And he's like, oh, that's awesome. We've got to get one. And we have used it for a lot of other things since then. So if you're going to be doing some of your own homestead projects, building things, it's going to be worth the investment for a pneumatic stapler. I would think we got ours at Harbor Freight for like $30 or something like that. So they're not particularly expensive. So one problem that we ran into this time making it is that the door frame and the door are made out of pressure-treated 1x4s. The first time we made it, this wasn't a problem. The second time, we could not find them. I went to 4 hardware stores or 4 lumber yards looking for these 1x4s. So we actually had to buy a 2x4 and rip it on our table saw, which was not ideal, but it did the job. And you could probably see, we didn't get 100% straight when we cut them, and it's a chicken tractor. It's going to be abused, and it's not that big a deal to me. So, but that's one problem we encountered this time when we made it. The first time we made it, the trouble we had with the door and the door frame is that the illustrations and the plans aren't detailed enough to see how the pieces of the frame and the pieces of the door are supposed to fit together, because there is a cross piece here at the top of the door, and then there's another one at the bottom of the door that it will help keep them from hopping out if the door is open, and that the top and bottom boards then need to lay on the top of the door so it will sit inside the frame. So we had to kind of use a little trial and error to figure that one out when we were building it the first time. So this time it was much smoother. We just kind of looked at the old one for reference and it worked out fine. All right, so that is kind of my little tour of the Stress-Free Chicken Tractor by John Seskovic. And all that's left for us to do is we're going to put a tarp on it so that they have shelter from the weather. And we'll get this out there. We've got Cornish Cross coming in 2 days. So we're ready to go for our spring batch of birds. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about the tractor and our experience building it or anything like that, be sure to ask in the comments. Don't forget to like the video if you found it helpful, and subscribe so the next time we put out a video, you'll know we've got something new. Thanks for watching.